and welcome to my presentation about the truth about sugar. So, the first thing that we need to know is that there are different types of sugars widely available to us. One, the naturally occurring sugars found in fruit, vegetables, and dairy products, and two, the free sugars which are present in honey, fruit juices, and syrups, or sugar which has been added to an existing product. So, sugar is classed as a simple carbohydrate. These forms of carbohydrate are broken down quickly by the body for energy release, whether they come from natural or free sources. However, refined and added sugars lack the nutritional value of their natural counterparts, so good to know. As our body has the ability to metabolize these carbohydrates to glucose for energy, we do not need to consume any additional sugary or added sugar foods. Now, our bodies metabolize all carbohydrate forms and convert them into glucose for energy. So, if we have an excess of glucose in our bodies that we don't need for energy, a process begins to convert this to glycogen, which is then stored as a form of glucose in the body. We'll go into more detail in this in our future macronutrient modules. Now, what happens if we have too much or too little sugar? So, enjoying some sweet foods in moderation is not harmful to health, but balance is key. Now, blood sugar fluctuations can be very dangerous, and insulin plays a huge role in the regulation of glucose in our bodies, and it's important to know about this. Now, simply put, too little sugar in your blood can lead to hypoglycemia, and too much sugar in your blood risks hyperglycemia and also diabetes. Now, let's have a little chat about insulin because it's important to know about this when talking about sugar. Insulin is produced in your pancreas. It's a hormone that transports sugar, otherwise known as glucose, from your blood into cells to be used as energy. If there's extra glucose that we do not need for energy, then insulin tells the muscles and the liver to bring it inside for storage. We release the insulin in proportion to carbohydrates. So the more glucose usually means more insulin, which eventually means more glycogen storage in the liver. Diabetes occurs when the body cannot use insulin properly or doesn't make enough insulin. Now, there's a couple of different types, as I'm sure you're aware. So, type 1 diabetes is when the body can't make insulin, so it must be injected to control blood glucose levels. Insulin resistance is when the cells in your muscles, fat, and liver don't respond well to insulin and cannot easily take glucose from the bloods. And that brings us on to type 2 diabetes, which is where the body has become resistant to the effects of insulin. And that means the body overproduces insulin to keep the blood glucose levels down at normal. So, with this, and after many years of overproduction, the insulin producing cells in your pancreas essentially burn out. However, this can be helped with lifestyle changes. You can put type 2 diabetes into remission as long as you have good lifestyle choices. Now, hyperglycemia is a term used when there are high levels of sugar in the blood. This occurs when the body does not produce or use enough insulin, and this is the leading indicator of diabetes. So, hypoglycemia is a term given to when there are lower amounts of sugar in the blood than usual, and this can happen when the body is producing too much insulin. Hypoglycemia can occur without diabetes in both children and adults, and there are contributing factors to this, which include other health issues, obesity, hereditary diabetes, certain types of stomach surgery, and then pre-diabetes. So, why is there so much sugar in the world? Now, don't get me wrong, the taste of something sweet does have a universal appeal. Like, we all know that sweet things taste nice, right? However, sugar releases dopamine, which is related to the reward and motivation part of your brain. So it actually induces a pleasant state, which is why most people can overlook the potential repercussions of overindulging in sugar, such as the weight gain, blood sugar levels, which we've just spoken about, and heart disease, which is without fail the biggest killer of people in the world. Now, sugar is added to processed foods to make them more appetizing. It's also added to foods because it can give baked foods better flavor, color, and texture. It can act as a preservative like salt or acid. It helps fermentation and it can be used as a bulking agent and then also balancing out acidity. Now, when checking for food labels, what should we have a look for? Well, there's a lot of companies which like to make this very difficult for us, and sugar can go by a lot of different names depending on its source and how it was processed or manufactured. And there's actually about 56 different types at my last count. Now, this can obviously make it very difficult to identify them when reading ingredient lists on labels, but here's some that you should look out for. So anything ending in O's, OSE. So dextrose, fructose, maltose, glucose, anything that's to do with cane juice or syrup, corn sweeteners and high fructose corn syrup, any concentrated fruit juices, honey, maple, and molasses. Now, what is the effects of sugar on the body? So, in relation to that, our body is in a constant state of alert when it comes to regulating our blood sugar levels. So this means the more that you challenge it by making unwise food choices, the more stress you're putting it under. Stabilizing your blood sugar levels just takes a bit of determination and some conscious decision making to lower the amount of sugar in your diet. I hope this all makes sense. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.